Liberal Party's most high-profile woman, Julie Bishop, has announced she will resign from Parliament at the next election. Ms Bishop was Deputy Leader of the Liberal Party for 12 years and served as Foreign Minister from 2013 to 2018. It comes just weeks after colleague Kelly O'Dwyer announced she would not contest the next election.
Joining us tonight for Taking Stock is founder and director of Sweaty Betty PR, Roxy Jacenko, and Jack Delosa, founder and CEO of The Entourage. Welcome, everyone, to the program. So, this is the question, Roxy. Why can't we keep women in Parliament, especially women like Julie Bishop?
I was just saying to Jack, I can't believe she's retiring again. I feel like she's retired more times than John Farnham's had his last concert. I really don't know. I was shocked that she's back again. So I'm going to hand over to you because, to be honest, I thought she'd retired and now she's stopped again and she's back.
She was on the back bench and now she's not going to contest the next election. So rather than, you know, she relinquished her Foreign Minister post.
She was still in Parliament.
She's still been there. She's still been in Parliament, but on the back bench.
Jack, should we go to him? I think we should.
Okay. Over to you.
Yeah. You know, she's the first female that's held that position of Deputy Leader of the Liberal Party, and she served, I think, in that particular role for about 11 years, right? So her service to the country has been exceptional. She's done an exceptional job. I thought that when she was explaining her reasons for why she wasn't, you know, going to contest at the next election, I think there was a lot of diplomacy and politics going on. I don't think she actually shared authentically the real reason.
She didn't give much away.
I mean, the speech started with, because we're going to win at the next election, I'm going to step down. And that just didn't... That sounded to me like a bit of PR, to be honest.
I'd be staying.
Exactly, right? It's like the party got together and said, make sure that when you say you're resigning, people don't think it's because you think we're going to lose. And so she comes out and says, because we're going to win, I'm leaving. And so I think they could have done a better job with the narrative. And
well,
I think...
Exactly, because you can't say, oh, because I really want to be in opposition, I'm going to stay. So, you know, it just was a backwards...
She did a pretty stale speech, guys. She had no notes and...
But it sounded quite memorised.
Well, I'm sure it was. I mean, she had no notes, so...
Right.
She would have had to...
She would have thought it through.
What she was going to have to say, right? I mean, but this, Roxy, this is Julie Bishop, Julia Bakes, Kelly O'Dwyer. I mean, there's been a lot of women who have left politics. What's your thoughts on that? Do we need more women in politics?
Look, I think it's important, obviously, in all sectors to have women. I think it's a very important thing. But I also, you know, I've never been the person that has had issues, you know, that, oh, well, I'm not accepted because I'm a girl. And I kind of have a bit of a problem with it. You know what, if you're good at what you do, you'll stay, you know, and you'll fit in and you'll be able to work as a team. It's never been a problem for me. It's important. Obviously, there has to be gender equality, but I've never had that problem. And I think if you're good at what you do and you push aside all of the rubbish, that doesn't really matter.
So should there be measures to try and encourage more women into Parliament, or is it just self-selecting? If they wanted to be there, they would be, and because they're not, they weren't that interested?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big advocate of equal opportunity, so giving everybody the same opportunity to enter into a meritocracy, you know, situation where everyone's judged on their own merits. And so I'm not a big fan of, you know, stating that there needs to be certain ratios one way or the other, to be honest, because I think that then goes away from a meritocracy into something that's, you know, less effective. And so I think that equal opportunity is a great thing. I think we absolutely need more women in politics. We absolutely need more women in senior positions in business as well.
But I've got to say, Julie Bishop is very popular with the public, the general public. I mean, you know, in sort of some of the surveys that have been done and some of the polls, she'd win as Prime Minister if the party would actually allow for that. Yeah. Roxy, why do you think she's so popular?
Look, you know, I've watched her. I was attending an event and she spoke and she was very engaging. She held the room unbelievably. She's a great person to go out there and represent Australia. There's no doubt about it. She speaks beautifully. She presents herself incredibly well. She's not embroiled in controversy. Look, there is no doubt that she would be a great Prime Minister. But I also don't get she's going to be in, then she's not going to be in. Make a decision. Are you staying or are you going? Sorry.
I think it was pretty clear today, wasn't it?
Well, she didn't have notes.
But let's see if she's like Farnsey, whether there'll be a comeback trail.
But we'll move on from that for the moment. Yeah. We'll talk another one. Australian parents want to see life skills introduced into school curriculums in preparation for life after graduation. Some new research from Monash University shows adults also support introducing technology, coding, artificial intelligence. So is our education system in need of a major overhaul?
Absolutely. And, you know, as an employer of an office of under 30s, I cannot tell you how important it is, because there's so many people in my team who haven't had any of those life skills taught to them. They've finished uni, they've gone into the workforce, and I'm still picking up the empty toilet rolls for them because no one's educated them that that is what happens in life.
Oh, surely that's parents, though, rather than schools.
I think it's everyone. You know, I don't think that anyone should be spoon-fed. I think from a school perspective, you know, I remember when I went to the careers advisor, she never laid out for me, this is how it's going to be, and if you need to make the coffees and run to the post office and pick up your boss's dry cleaning, that's what you do. They need to. You know, it's all well and good to put them in work experience for 1 week, but that's not enough.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, I mean, my son's just started high school and I'm looking at some of the stuff that he's bringing home, and the curriculum's not vastly different from, you know, when I was there.
That wasn't long ago, so was it?
5 minutes ago. Do we need more changes in terms of, I mean, is it a good idea to keep looking at the same texts like The Hobbit and things that were around, you know...
The Hobbit.
Yeah, he's looking at The Hobbit, like, from decades and decades ago. Or should we be bringing in things that are more in step with what kids are learning now and what they're talking about now and what they'll need to learn?
Jacket at
Of
school?
course not. I mean, I've got so many views on this subject. For me, it's honestly disappointing that it's 2019 and the fact that life skills should be in schools is newsworthy. The fact that this wasn't integrated and implemented 25 years ago is a slight on the education system, the Department of Education, the government, everybody, right? The problem with schools and high schools is this: they're not, and this is talking from a position of being in education for 8 to 10 years, right? The problem with schools and high schools is that they're not engineered and developed to develop human beings or people. They're engineered to get people into university. That's the primary metric, that's the primary objective. The problem is that university, as the world continues to change, universities just, by virtue of their size, by virtue of their bureaucracy, they just can't keep up. And so the world is changing at a very steep rate, and universities and traditional education aren't, and that divide continues to get wider, to the point where 58% of employers, like Roxy and I, believe that graduates are not adequately prepared for the workforce. 58%.
What are they missing out on? What do they need to know?
Life skills.
Like
How the world turns around.
Roxy, this also goes for things like, I mean, because, you know, you never use algebra post-school, maybe in very few careers. I don't know, at NASA maybe they use some algebra. But what I'm saying is basically budgeting, tax skills, all this stuff you do not learn in school or university for that matter.
I never even got into university, and I think it's actually a stroke of luck for the fact that I had to go out and I had to fend for myself and actually learn the life skills in order to be able to hold down a job. No, you don't use algebra and you don't use all of those things. I don't have a problem with the curriculum and them wanting to teach that or reading The Hobbit. I actually have no issue with that. But I think there needs to be an education piece about going out and in the workforce, what is expected of you, that you are taught that your boss can give you criticism, and that is not a personal attack. That is to teach you and make you a better employee. You know, it's so basic. It is so basic that it's quite unbelievable that it's a news story, as you said.
But do parents teach it or schools? That's the issue here.
Well, you're in school much more than you are with your parents.
Probably true.
So, you know, the reality is 5 out of 7 days you're at school. So I think the schools, yes, they do need to.
Yeah.
Well, I got taught to write a cheque at school, and that's not a very useful skill anymore.
I still use checks.
I totally agree. I mean, maths and English and all that is absolutely important. It helps people to become doctors and accountants and all that. What we need to add to that basic fundamental curriculum is emotional intelligence, resiliency, communication skills, how to relate to one another, how to manage finances. It's crazy that we have generations going through a production line that doesn't address that stuff.
True. All right, we'll move on from that because there's something else to talk about tonight, and that is restaurants. An Italian restaurant in Sydney lashing out at a newly opened competitor, claiming the business has stolen their menu, their store aesthetic, and even their uniforms. The owners of the Italian Bowl claim they trained their new competitors as chefs in their kitchen before they opened a near-exact replica restaurant. So, is imitation in business a form of flattery? Roxy, you'll have something to say about this.
Oh, do I ever? How many times has it happened to me? You know, I have a real problem with it, and I don't blame this particular venue for lashing out.
What's the scenario in your case? So you've trained up people in PR and then they've gone and started a rival business?
Yes, you know, I guess for me, it's not about the issue of someone being trained and then going out on their own and hoping to succeed on their own. There is absolutely no problem with that. Where I see a problem is with what this person has done, and has happened to me, that they go out, they replicate exactly what they're doing, and then they start to poach your clients that you may have had for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. And that would be exactly what this person's doing. I mean, he's taken his IP, his menu, he's copied his uniforms, and what's he hoping to do? Bring the business from that restaurant to his. I have a problem with it. You know what? We've got so many... You know, you can have an ability to give a different offering. You know, do it differently. Don't do what the person's already doing. It's such an insult, and I don't find it flattering. At all. I don't.
You know what? Fair game, though. I mean, that's the question.
And the restaurant owner in this case, he said he has trained up other chefs and things who've gone and started rival businesses, but they've injected their own kind of ideas into it, whereas these
give it
people
their own flavour, pardon the pun. But you know what? That's the most important thing. If you're going to start something new, to be successful, you don't replicate what someone's doing. You have to have your own flair on it. And as an employer, my aim is to take you from an intern to make you the best publicist you can be. And then when you move and you want to do it yourself, that's fine. But create something fresh, something new, something that we're not already doing.
I couldn't agree more with Roxy. I mean, every successful business is going to have copycats, and a lot of the time, particularly in businesses like ours, those copycats will come from people who were previously employed. Now, I don't have any issue with people going out and doing the same thing. It is going to happen. It's going to happen a lot, and I think it is a form of flattery. I mean, I also would draw the line at coming and getting your clients. I mean, that would be the restaurant equivalent of this person walking into the other guy's restaurant and saying, "Come with me, I'll give you the pasta a little bit cheap." So that's not cool. I don't see, in terms of the sentiment of this article, I don't see it being useful for either party. The person that's doing the copycat, as Roxy's saying, they're being unimaginative, they're not innovating, and so they're probably not going to be successful long term. And for the initial sort of business that's being copied, there's no point in complaining about it because it's going to happen, and if you can't defend it through trademarks and copyright and through law...
Which is hard to do with recipes and things, isn't it?
You can't do it. You can't do it. So your only defence to competition, your only defence to copycat people is to innovate and to keep innovating. That's something Roxy's been doing, you know, in the PR industry for a decade now. She will continue getting better, and so a copycat starts what she's doing while she's innovating. In 2 years, they'll be where she was 3 years ago, because innovators will ultimately win.
This restaurant's actually getting congratulated on a new restaurant that they've opened, so I think they think it's destroyed their franchise opportunity now. Hopefully not. But we'll move on from that and talk Meghan Markle. It's got to talk Meghan Markle, don't we? Well, you've got an A.
She's enjoyed enjoyed a lavish baby shower in New York City, hosted in the most expensive hotel room in America. The shower was held in the penthouse suite at the Mark Hotel, setting her back around $75,000 US per night. Meghan shared her shower with a host of celebrity guests, but did she break royal protocol by having one at all? And do we really care? And when we say set her back $75,000 a night, it wouldn't have been her that paid the bill.
Probably wasn't Serena Williams either. Probably was the hotel.
Probably was the hotel.
Sorry that we weren't invited. Looks like a nice one.
Well, not many people were. Nobody from the palace was invited. Well, the people from Suits were.
What do you think, Roxy? I mean, you like an extravagant baby shower,
I love extravagance.
I'm sure.
As you can see, I'm definitely not understated. Look, you know what? Credit to her. And I think, is royal protocol out the window? Well, it's about time for it to be out the window. And I think what she has done is he's married someone he loves, not who the royal family say he has to marry. And if she wants to have a baby shower, so be it.
Or if friends want to, I mean, Amal
if
clearly wants to.
Yeah, if they want to throw it for her, why not? Why should she, because of who she'd married, miss out on those opportunities? I mean, I think it's nice. Heck, I'm happy to borrow your private jet and go to the Mark Hotel. I mean, I'm not pregnant, but...
Jack, why are people so narky about it?
Because it's unorthodox and it's unusual and anything it's not traditional and non-traditional from anybody in or around the royal family. You know, will sort of call upon criticism from the media and the like. You know, I don't have a lot of sort of opinion on this particular story. I agree with Roxy. I think that why not? You know, again, it's 2019. She's a successful woman.
Well, she's got successful friends who probably pay for the baby shower, so it's not even coming out of her pocket.
But you know what? And if it did, so be it.
Exactly.
You know, I think all of us spend way too much time criticising people for what they spend.
100%.
You know something? If you've got it and you want to spend it, that's your prerogative. I don't think it's up to anyone else to have criticism about it.
But, you know, it even takes you to royal protocol about her not being able to wear dark nail polish. Like, that's not something that's anything to do with money. What's the point of that?
It's
Jack, do you have a view on Darnell?
There is none. There is no point. That's the point, right? It's when tradition becomes overly cumbersome and overly restrictive, people are going to break it, and when they do, it's completely fine.
The issue is the royal family wants to be relatable, right? And this is unrelatable.
And she's already broken every royal protocol as well, though, hasn't she? By being a divorced African American.
That's the question. Like, Roxy, do you think it's bad PR?
No, I don't.
But you don't. I mean, I don't know. You're not a royal family publicist.
The thing is this: do I think it's bad?
Work for the palace.
The reality is, she would not have made that move if it wasn't okay.
Yeah.
She's also not a stupid girl. She'd also be rather respectful. She knows what she's married into, and with that comes certain things that you need to abide by.
Yeah.
I am sure this wasn't something that she decided on the Tuesday, right, so I'm going to get on XYZ's jet, we're going to New York, and I'm going to a $75,000 a night penthouse. You're also, I think, you know, for me as a publicist, how many times I've read about stuff, and I'm like, we weren't in a penthouse. In fact, we were in a $250 a night room, and we took an Uber. Yeah. But it is sold a whole, you know, a whole different way. Look, I have no problem with it, and I'm sure she never decided on a whim she was going to do it. She would have had the relevant parties check it off.
And she's a Hollywood actress at the end of the day. I mean, this is what they all do.
That's her world.
Should she change her life?
Yeah.
There you go.
Exactly.
Roxy Dasenko, Jack Delosa, always
Thanks for spending your birthday with us.
Let's get on the jet.
All right. We'll see you at the Strip.
Still to come.